Hey everybody, I'm Luke Allen with CometChat, and today I'm going to be showing you how easy it is to build your very own iOS chat app. I'm a full-time iOS developer at a regional bank and just a lover of all things iOS. I run my own weight training app called CleanLift. I post tutorial videos to my YouTube channel, iOS Luke, and I just stay involved with the iOS community in any way I can, really. So of course I'm stoked to partner with CometChat, which is an up-and-coming software as a service startup. Now they offer voice, video, and chat solutions for industries ranging from online marketplaces and dating apps to healthcare, live events, and whatever else. So today we'll be building an iOS chat app using CometChat's very own UI kit. It's extremely simple to build, allows for tons of customizations, comes with loads of extensions, and only takes about 10 minutes to get started. So follow along with me here, and then you can try it for yourself for free. Let's get going. CometChat offers 3 different ways to implement chat, each with their own benefits. The first of the 3 would be the chat widget here. Now this one requires minimum effort and also gives you minimum customization. As you can see here, it's something that you can kind of just create here in the dashboard, do a few customizations here, and then add it to whatever platform you're working on. Next, we have CometChat's UI kit. Now this isn't to be confused with iOS's own UI kit. This is CometChat's bundle of view controllers that provide chat functionality. UI kit requires a little bit more effort to implement than the chat widget, but it offers a lot more customization. And finally, there's the CometChat iOS SDK. This one requires much more work to actually implement, but offers tons of customization, because as you can see, you're basically doing the calls yourself, and you get to define whatever UI you want for your chat experience. So it's kind of cool too. And by the way, CometChat isn't just a text chat service, it offers user-to-user and group chat calling as well. So that's enough talking. Let's get started by creating a free account here. All right, I've created an account, and the first thing it asks is to add a new app, so we will do that. We can pick a technology here. For us, it's going to be Swift. And for your use case, it could be whatever choice you want here. We'll just pick Other since we're doing a very basic implementation here. And click Add App. First thing you'll see is your CometChat Pro Dashboard. Now this is the area where you basically will do everything for setup and for whatever info and customizations you want to do from this side of things instead of the code side. The app ID and the auth key are 2 things that your app will have to provide to the SDK to authenticate and use it. So you have this quick start menu, and then on the side you'll see lots of other options from your users list, which they always come with a default set of these superheroes. There's a groups list, which is like your group chats that are predefined. And these things you can edit from here, but what would actually happen in a real world scenario is that you would create and manage users and groups from the code side, from the server side, or whatever it is. Another interesting menu item here is the extensions menu. And you can tell just by the names of things here that it's a list of features or functionality that you can decide whether or not is implemented or installed in your chat experience. And like I said, while you can control a lot through the dashboard, the usual way that a user is added is they would sign up in your app and sign up with whatever authentication method that you have set in place, and then probably via a server-to-server call, you are going to tell CometChat that you are creating a user and pass that info to CometChat on the back end, and then that user is created in CometChat. And likewise, when they sign in, you would sign in for the user to CometChat as well, so that their session is managed that way. And likewise, if a user decides to delete their account on your app, you can use a server-to-server call to delete them in CometChat as well. So that is everything we need to look at in the dashboard for now. We are ready to add it to our app now. So I've got a completely brand new Xcode project here that we'll be starting from. And the first thing to do is to add CometChat via CocoaPods. So open up your terminal, and you'll want to navigate to the root directory of your Xcode project. Mine is CometChat Basic for this example. Run pod init. And if you've never used CocoaPods, it's totally fine. This is a very common way of managing external dependencies. So pod init just kind of set up our project to be used with CocoaPods. As you'll see, now we have a pod file. And we'll go into that pod file and add our CometChat Pro version 2.2.2 dependency. And one thing we can do here as well is set our minimum target version to 11. So we'll save that and run pod install. And there when we run pod install, we're going to see those dependencies get added automatically. And now a couple build settings that we need to take care of. You're going to go to your target's build settings here and do a search for always embed. We're going to want that to be yes. Next, search for header search paths. And this option should be in here. It's in there automatically for me, but just want to make sure that everybody is good to go there. And now for Xcode 12 and above, which is probably what you're working in, there's one thing to do with your architectures. Build active architecture only should be set to yes in our current scheme. And then your excluded architectures should have ARM64. It looks like Xcode does that for you automatically now, but if you have an older project, that might not be there. And also you're going to want to go to your info.plist file and make sure that you add these 4 privacy usage descriptions. These are required for some of the things that CometChat needs access to in order to work properly. Okay, now we can head to our app delegate, which is where we will set up our SDK installation. And how you'll do this is you will copy your app ID from the dashboard like this. Don't forget to import CometChat Pro. And then after app ID, you will need your region, which for us, or for me anyway, it is US. And that's all you need as far as keys. And then you will take this chunk of code copied straight from the documentation. This creates a settings object based on your region, and then calls this initialization for CometChat Pro. It passes in your app ID, and then that settings object, and then this will let you know if it initialized successfully or not. And now that that's done, we can actually test our app, but what you want to do is make sure you close your project because we did a CocoaPods initialization. So the normal Xcode project will not work anymore. We'll have to close that and now open this workspace file rather than the Xcode project. Then we can build and run that. And now we see our completely empty app running, but if we go to our console, here in Xcode, we see CometChat Pro SDK initialized successfully, which means everything is groovy. Next, since this is just a demo app, we're going to hard code logging in a user on this first main view controller. How that works is you copy the code from the documentation and drop it into your view did load, and don't forget to import CometChat Pro here as well. And we need to enter our auth key. So let's do that. Auth key has been copied. Paste that in, and we'll see if that works. So here we see our blank app again, but this time you'll notice login successful, user, and then all of the data that we got from that user based on this printout. So easy enough, we are logged in. And as you can see, this login call is just passing in the UID, which is the user ID for whatever the user is, would technically be kind of their password or whatever identifier you use on your backend, and then the auth key of your CometChat Pro membership. So that is it for the CometChat Pro kind of like login and initialization setup. Now we can add the UI part of it. So to implement the UI kit, what you have to do is pull down the repo, which happens just when you click on iOS Chat UI Kit here in the UI Kit documentation. We can open up that folder and see this library folder here. This is what we want to drag into our project. So to make that easy, I will bring the project out here and we'll find our frameworks folder and drop it in here. Make sure that you have copy items if needed and create groups selected here so that everything gets copied over correctly, and finish. And give that just a minute to drop in, and then you'll see we have all of this good stuff added to our project. And that's it as far as importing it. There's no, CocoaPods work or anything. You just drop in the files and you're good to go. And what we can do with that is, let's just make a new method. Open chat. Okay, and in this open chat method, you'll want to perform this work from the main thread. So we're going to have this main.async block. We're going to create a CometChat UI object, set that object up, tell it that we want it to be full screen, and then tell it to present itself, and we're good to go. So we will do this in our login completion block. So assuming that we logged in correctly, it will open this chat. Let's see what happens. All right, so as you can see, we have a fully functional chat application just from that one UIKit component. You have chats, calls, users, groups, and then more. And as you can see, I can send a test message and it shows up there in the list. Now, a fun thing to do here is to change our password to Superhero2 and launch this on another simulator and have them talk to each other and see how that looks. All right, so we have Captain America signed in on this one and Iron Man signed in on this one. So Captain America has not seen those messages yet, so you see that badge there. We're gonna get our normal application prompts there for your first time user. And then we can see those messages roll in. Oh, hi. And look at that, it shows up instantly on the other end. Likewise, we could jump into a group over here. No messages yet, but we'll go ahead and kick off the conversation. And this looks a little bit different in a group setting because you're going to see, the name with whoever sent that. These superheroes have some quite boring conversations, as you can tell. But nonetheless, everything's working as expected, and we did almost no work. Now, that is all we need to do for this initial demo app. I'm going to show you a couple different use cases. All right, let's get into our first use case. So this one is the live events use case. So I'll just show you what the app looks like first, and then we'll get into some of the extensions that we want to add and kind of show off and demo. So this is just a mocked up kind of, screen of a live event where you might see the video, and then you have a chat option where you load up a chat, like a private group chat with your friends. And I think it'd be interesting to show that this chat tap method is what's getting called when you tap on the chat button. And this is literally all the code that it takes to create that private chat. This is a little bit hard coded, so it could be more dynamic, but for the sake of this demo, I just had to create this CometChat message list object, point it to the correct one, which was created on the back end previously, and then kind of just pass that group over to my message list object and push that view controller, and then we're there. So we've talked about extensions. Let's add some extensions and see how that works and what it looks like. First one that comes to mind in a group chat setting would be the emojis. So we can just go ahead and add that extension, and it's done. Maybe we want to keep the profanity down in the group chat. There's a profanity filter we can add. And another fun one, stickers. Send and manage stickers, add extension. And so this is all done from your CometChat Pro Dashboard view. You just find this extensions tab down here and choose from the ones that you want to use. Oh, let's also add reactions. Now with some of the extensions, there are more settings that you need to configure. So how you get to that is you go to this installed tab and you see the ones that have this settings button are the ones that have more settings that we can play with. So for profanity filter, you can actually, explicitly write out what words you want to filter. So if it's maybe not already in the system, but it's something that you want to keep the conversation away from, you can do that. So I've got one called bad word. So if I said bad word in a message, it should mask it on the other side. So we'll see that in a minute. And the other one here is stickers. So what's kind of cool about this is you actually have a ton of options. They have Vampire Christmas, whatever, but you can also bring in a custom set of whatever images you upload yourself. So it's fully customizable, which is great. All right, let's demo some of that. So I'm logged in with 2 different users, and let's say one of my users wants to share a photo of what they're seeing. We just so happen to have that. You see it on the other side, of course. And this user decides to give it a live reaction. Woohoo! All right, so let's see how profanity filter works. I want to say bad word. No, don't change it for me. See, so interesting enough, it doesn't mask it on your side because you're the one that set it, so, it doesn't need to be masked for you. But all of the recipients of that message are going to see stars there instead of the actual word, which is pretty cool. And then we had the sticker extension. So this is what it looks like when you bring up that menu, and you can kind of navigate to all the different kinds and look through all of them. So really good library here. And we'll send a pirate because that's fun. Awesome. One other thing that is really neat that we can do is we can kind of customize our entire experience based on a bunch of different settings and flags. There's a UIKit settings object. And there's actually a whole list once you go to the Customize UIKit documentation on their docs page. There's color settings, there's different tabs that get shown or hidden, call settings, user settings, lots of group settings, message settings. So we're not going to get into all these obviously, but do know that there's a lot of functionality that we can play with. So like right now our primary color was set to system red. Let's change it to system blue, and let's disable the ability to send photos and videos and see what that does. All right, so obviously all of this is not UIKit stuff. This is my own custom. So the red is going to stay here, but once we get here, we see that there's a blue tint kind of theme going for whatever elements they have that they color themselves in the UI, in the CometChat UIKit. And then we no longer see a option to send photos or videos here in this list. So that's what that setting controlled. So obviously we could do a lot of things with that. So it gives you a lot of control over the experience that your users get, which is really great. So that's the live event example. Lots of really cool stuff that you get for free here. All right, so this next example is going to be like a healthcare app, which really is a great place to use this technology because, you know, as technology is advancing, I think healthcare is advancing with it, and the way that we communicate with our healthcare professionals and with our doctors and nurses, this really adds to the experience and makes things a lot more convenient. So the sample app here just has a patient login and a physician login. So for example, when the physician logs in on the right here, she sees her patient, and you know, when the patient logs in, they see their doctor, and this allows you to see some information about each other and then go ahead and chat. So yeah, so one example would be that the physician wants to send their patient an image of their results. So you can see here we have an x-ray, and the patient can respond with a thumbs up here because that's good news. And you see that show up on both ends. So that's really cool. And one other really cool feature here is video calling. So I'm going to bring out the devices and do a demo with that. All right, so we're ready to check out the voice call feature. This one doesn't need an extension or anything. It's just built in. Obviously, you could disable it if you want to. You can see both my device screens right now on the screen. And if you tap in the top right, it brings up the menu of the user that you tapped on, and then the phone icon, and then we can tap video call. And you can see on the other device that they got the prompt. We can accept that. But here you can see I'm on both phones, obviously. But this is a really cool experience. You know, you have your mute, you can disable your video, you can re-enable your video, you have speaker, you can change which way your camera is pointing. So just a really cool feature that's just built in and so easy to get to. All right, we're down to our last use case app. This is the community app. So this is kind of like a social platform app or service. So we can sign in with our two users here. And I'll also mention that for this demo, we're gonna try out the link preview extension and the polls extension. All right, so you can see once the app is opened up that we just have three different tabs. We have a chats tab, people, and groups. Chats shows all the people that you've talked to, and these are all just standard UIKit controllers. And then people shows, it's kind of like an address book. And then groups is where you can make group chats at. Those three tabs just come from this code right here. I have a tab bar controller where I assign an array of those view controllers. So all three of those, as you can see, are standard CometChat UIKit objects. So you have the CometChat conversation list, you have the CometChat user list, and the CometChat group list. A few settings for like their images for the tabs and stuff, but really not much. You set the title and the mode for the object, so that's a CometChat setting, and then the rest is just normal UIKit stuff. So very easy to get started there, and that's it. That's the app basically. All right, so let's create a group. Kindly enter group name. Then we select our group type. So it can be public, it can be password protected or private. We'll just make it public because why not? And then create group. So now when I go back to that view with a different member or a different user, they're going to see that group and we can actually go ahead and join it. And so both sides see that it has been joined by another user, by John here. Okay, so let's send a message. And then I want to show you some options that we can play around with. So delete message comes up as an option. We can go ahead and do that, and then both users will see that it was deleted. They'll see that a message was sent and deleted, but they won't see what that message was. Another thing, I'll send that same one again, is we can edit the message, which I wish like every messaging platform had this. I wish I could do this on Twitter. I wish I could do this on iMessage. So when you're doing this, you get this really nice little UI that says edit message. It gives you a kind of an example of what it was before, and then you have the opportunity to replace it with new text here. And I resend that, and the recipient does not know the difference. Groups are really fun. You can do a lot of things with like member access. There's an admin list, there's a moderator list, so lots of different things you can do there. I can ban or remove this other member here. So in this members list, I can long press on somebody's name and either remove them or ban them, which is kind of cool. So let's go ahead and remove John from this group. Now when John goes back to this group's list, he's going to see there's only one member because he's been kicked out. But he can join back in. And now if I go back to this from the other side, I can decide, no, John, I think you need to be banned. I think we're done here. And now John is gone. Oh, we are banned, so it does not let us into that group chat. Okay, so that works. All right, so I can go over here and actually unban him from the other side, just so we can continue. All right, so he is joined back in now. All right, so let's see what it looks like creating a poll. All right, so the question is this group fun? And the options are yes or nope. Let's create that poll. Awesome. Okay, so that's what it looks like. So really cool, really nice little UI here. And I can vote in favor of that. 100% yes. Awesome. One other thing. So there's a link preview extension that we've enabled here in addition to the polls one that we just saw. And what that does is if I type in a URL, it's actually going to show up in a nice formatted preview. Okay, so if I were to want to share my personal website, iosluke.com, I can send that and it'll actually show up with a nice link preview with the header image and some information from whatever the URL provides. So very cool, has a nice visit link. And then let's say I want to respond to that message specifically. There's actually, if you either wanted to start a thread, if you want to start a conversation from a certain message, or just reply to that message in line, you can tap reply message here and say, so cool. And then it kind of shows what you're replying to in your own message, which is really neat. And that is it. I've had a ton of fun going through all this stuff with you today, and I hope it's been super helpful. Just from the various extensions that you can play with to how simple it is to get started with this. It's a really fun tool to play with, and I think it'll bring a lot of value to your project if you want to use chat in any way, shape, or form. Like I said earlier, it supports every platform you can think of, and the different products they offer allow you to be as involved as you want to be. So like we did today, we used the UI kit because we wanted to show off a simple, easy implementation to show off the power of it all. But on the other hand, if you want to be super custom, then you've got the iOS chat SDK that you can use where you can go totally the other way and be as custom as you want to be and create some really cool things there as well. So head on over to CometChat because it's free to sign up and it's easy to get going like you just saw. And of course, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to this channel and you'll get a lot more content like this. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.